Today, we're going to be talking about Murder on the Orient Express and Daddy's Home 2. So stay tuned. Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. And I'm here with Matt, Magic Man. Hey.
Magic Man?
Yeah, who am I? That's from a Will Ferrell film.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the one?
No, I don't.
Talladega Nights.
Okay.
It's El Diablo and Magic Man. It's the names they make up for each other.
That's right. I do know that.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I'm here with Joel Cunningham.
I just spit.
Yeah.
What was
Joel.
that?
Joel. Here, I'll try it again.
I'm gonna really listen this time.
Joel
Maybe I'll pick
Hercule Poirot Cunningham. I don't know how to say his name.
it's
the
detective from Murder on the Orient.
It's a Murder on the Orient Express joke.
I get that. I actually had a hard time picking up his name as well.
I still don't know it.
I'm not the only one.
I still don't know it. That's why I said it like that.
I thought they were saying Hercules for the first half of the film.
Well, they made a joke about it.
Did they?
That's where Daisy Ridley was like, it was like Hercules, like, and he's like, no.
Maybe that's, I guess maybe they did that on purpose then.
And he was like, no, it's not Hercules.
I had a really, really hard time listening and hearing the dialogue in that film. And I thought maybe it was just me, the sound mix, maybe my allergies are clogging up.
I think it was
the
sound mix.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk more about that in a bit. We're going to be talking about that film as well as a little bit. I got to see Daddy's Home 2, and I feel like we can't not talk about that at least just a little bit. There's just too much stuff there to not talk about.
For sure.
Cool. So before we get going, just a reminder, kind of what we do here on the podcast. Matt, you're a bit more of like kind of the fan perspective.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and I tend to be a bit more of the kind of the harsh critic. And so we combine those to give you what we consider a real thought and perspective of film. Before we get going into the actual review section, real quick though, why don't you give the listeners some ways to get connected to the podcast or vidcast?
Yes, true, both. Yes. Get connected. YouTube.com/TheRealReview. That's how you can catch some of the vidcasts, the videos that we post up on there. Also, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all at Real Review Media, Facebook.com/RealReviewMedia. And that's how you can do that. You can find us on our website also, RealReviewMedia.com, and email us at RealReviewMedia@gmail.com. Again, that's real spelled REEL, like film reel or fishing reel, whatever.
You did it, Matt.
Whatever. Yep.
You did it.
I did it.
Good stuff. I've got 2 different drinks here that I'm working my way through because I haven't had any food yet. So I'm going to apologize in advance. You might hear my stomach rumbling throughout this. I'm just apologizing in advance. It's really distracting for some people. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's keep going on some of the review stuff. So, Matt, why don't you take it away? Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, let's totally do this thing.
To let you start off with and you're not feeling the greatest either, right? You're feeling
I'm under the weather. You can tell I'm kind of like gravelly and more like sounding. So anyway, I'll try my best to not sound like that.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. Murder on the Orient Express. A lavish train ride unfolds into a stylish and suspenseful mystery. From the novel by Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express tells of 13 stranded strangers and one man's race to solve the problem before the murderer strikes again. And stars and is directed by Kenneth Branagh and has a lot of other people in it as well. Yeah. Actually, a ton of people. You have William Dafoe, Daisy Ridley, Leslie Odom Jr. You have, Judi Dench is in it.
Sorry, I'm looking up on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm wondering how it's doing right now because it's yeah.
So
middle of the pack.
A ton of people in it, and the big thing with this movie is it's a mystery, and it's posed as much, especially from the trailers. You get, okay, it's a murder mystery. We're going to figure this out. And it's based off a novel, which I read forever ago, but I forgot about it.
Oh, you actually read the novel?
A long time ago.
Wow.
It was in high school, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. I don't remember. It was either that or And Then There Was None. I don't remember either one. It was an Agatha Christie thing.
Right. And this is it's a remake. There was originally, so not only the book, but then you had the Sidney Lumet film.
From like 70s or something.
I believe 73?
Yeah.
So 73?
Overall, I thought this film was okay. Mm-hmm. Things that I liked, I thought it was acted really well.
Agreed there.
Josh Gad was in it also. I forgot to mention him.
Did you say Michelle Pfeiffer?
Michelle Pfeiffer also. There's a couple people I missed, I'm sure. I apologize about that. But
Derek Jacobi. I haven't seen him in a while, actually. Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
All those good people.
Got that kiddo. So he... I thought it was acted really well. I actually thought it was directed well as well. Some of the shots that bothered me in the trailer actually weren't the same that they were in the film.
Yeah.
Especially that scene where it's like panning from each person as they're like explaining after they find out somebody's been murdered on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
Again, we're not going to get into spoilers in this, so we'll keep it, fresh for people that haven't heard it or know what's going into it. But I thought Kenneth Branagh was a highlight. I thought he was the best part of the whole movie, in my opinion.
Okay.
And also his mustache was one of the best parts of the whole movie.
He didn't do anything with it except for...
He had a guard.
Yeah, that was it.
So,
but he didn't he wasn't like, or like somebody didn't try and touch it and he's like, don't.
So what
I was kind of hoping
the other thing that I liked about it, and this kind of ends what I liked about it, it looked good.
It looked competent.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look amazing to me.
Right.
It looked like it was well thought out.
Right. This next thing is something that I feel like is a negative and a positive. So do you want to kind of give your positives first?
I think my positives are similar to yours. I think one positive for me, because it wasn't a negative, which sounds weird, but it was based on the trailer.
Okay.
The trailer, and they said this even in the synopsis that you provided, that it was very stylized, and it really wasn't to me.
No, it wasn't.
It was pretty much a straight up mystery kind of thriller about a murder that takes place on a train.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that it was going to be much more stylized.
Yeah.
That there was going to be quirky music, popping in at time. Like they use Imagine Dragons in that trailer.
Right. Or really odd like camera work.
Yeah, odd camera work at times, and they did some really strong juxtaposition. Like in the trailer, there was like a woman screaming. It's like and it like bleeds into like the train.
I thought that was a guy screaming in that trailer.
Was
but
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Either way.
But there wasn't a lot of that. It was pretty much just a straightforward, and maybe I would have been fine. I like stylization. I would have been fine with it. I just didn't like that stylization.
Sure.
So it's kind of a positive and a negative, I guess.
Okay.
But it's more of a positive because I was expecting it to be really bad.
Yeah.
But agreed on all the acting. I think cinematography was competent. So we can move more into sort of the negatives here because there's probably more on that front for both of us.
Yeah, again, I thought this movie was okay. I didn't think it was really that good per se, but one thing I did really like about this movie is I felt like they had two different ideas going into the movie. One of them I liked was a little bit more fun, a little bit more light.
Yeah.
The other one was very serious drama aspect of it. And they're very stark. They don't blend very well in this movie. And I'll say that because they make that transition early on. You kind of make one shift from the lightheartedness of it to the serious part, maybe in the first 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that. I mean, there's moments like when the I forget the name of the one guy, but
we're not spoiling anything, right?
No.
Okay.
Tom Bateman's character, I think it's Tom. He when he's introduced, this isn't really a spoiler.
It's not.
It doesn't play into anything, but like when he's introduced, he's like with a prostitute.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like, oh look, he's with how funny that is. He's saying like, there was moments like that where there's this weird lightheartedness that it felt like they were going to go for more kind of like, what I thought they were trying to do is juxtapose it very strongly. Go like, okay, everything's lighthearted until it got serious. Then it was going to be like, boom, in your face, like super heavy-handed. Yeah. But it never really did that. It kind of floated back and forth.
Yeah, I didn't like that because I liked how it started out. I liked the fun element of it, and you basically get to see Hercule, Kenneth Branagh's character, the most renowned detective in the world. You get to see him. You get to see him be the best detective in the world. But he's also very quirky because he's got like OCD.
Right. That was a bit. I mean, I was sitting there watching him discuss that opening, detective work job that he was doing, and it felt so. That did feel a little stylized. It was weird how they would at moments tip into stylization.
Yeah.
And it felt like they were kind of trying to go for something, but they didn't really know what they were searching for. And it was almost like this fast cut thing, but they had these really wide shots mixed with the fast cuts, and it really didn't match the pacing of the music and what they were going for. So it was very odd to me. It almost felt like they were missing insert shots and missing close-up shots, especially in that beginning. And it went beyond the realm of realistic very quickly. Because immediately it's like, okay, that you can't predict that and that happening.
That was my problem with it is that they set up this kind of fun, lighthearted, almost like not real world scenario.
Yeah.
And they didn't stick with that. They ventured from that within the first 30 minutes to very serious drama. There was like little quirky things, like how we learned that like Hercule like loves bread and stuff like that. I was like, that's okay. It's basically character building is what it is, but in a very quirky kind of way.
Yeah, the way I would say it's like almost like when you watch The Mummy. I know that sounds
the
ridiculous.
New Mummy?
No, the original Mummy with
Mummy.
Brendan Fraser. The quirkiness that's kind of the fun, the playfulness that's there is at the start of the film.
Yeah.
And you feel like maybe that's going to play throughout, but it's just there's moments of that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of slowly kind of lingers away.
Yeah. So they didn't jive as well for me because I like the playfulness. If they would have kept that up throughout the whole thing, it would have been better. And I think it would have been better if they didn't end it the way they didn't end it, or if they didn't end it the way they ended it. I realize they're staying faithful to the novel. They're doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
at a very strong
they wanted you, without spoiling anything, they wanted you to feel certain emotions for a certain character or certain characters, and in order to justify something. And I didn't feel that emotion. It didn't pay off, and I was like, I don't know about that. You know, like there's got to be consequences for what happened,
right?
And you didn't bring me on board enough. And I think the problem with that, and a part of that was just the you didn't get enough from all the supporting cast. There's a lot. It's a big cast.
It's a big cast.
Yeah.
I felt like they never went beyond sort of. I was expecting kind of these interviews. I mean, the way it plays out, it's the same sort of detective thing. A murder takes place, and then the detective goes around kind of interviewing everybody and putting together clues. I was expecting it to be kind of this interview, initial kind of gathering of information, then something presents itself, he figures something out, and then a next set of information, he kind of goes back and he re-interviews people with this new set of information. He's kind of slowly getting deeper and deeper with these people.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like one interview, and then mostly that's it. There was a couple people that kind of got that re-interview thing going, but it was like he would have an initial interview with somebody, except for, one or two characters I don't want to spoil, but like then you'd find out there was a little bit more to their story later. Right. And so it lacked that depth of where I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to go into like a much deeper, but the picture became very clear to me. I'd never seen the first one and never read the book.
Right.
The picture became very clear to me of what was going to happen within the first 30, 45 minutes.
Oh, really?
And then, it just wasn't the depth of how, I don't want to spoil anything for the ending, but like I recognized kind of where the ending was headed. I just didn't know how fully that was going to be embraced
sure.
By the story's end. And that was the only thing that was a little bit shocking, I thought, was just like, that's the fullness of it.
Yeah. I just had a hard time like investing emotionally in what they wanted me to feel. They wanted the audience, I could tell they wanted the audience to feel a certain way at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way. And so they didn't really bring me on board with it. And so, pun, all aboard. Okay.
Hey, I think the reason for that is they did not set up thematically an idea like a thread that kind of ran throughout the film.
Sure.
I mean, if you think of the beginning of the film, they presented a characterization of who this guy is, of who Hercule was, and then they kind of went maybe against that characterization, but that doesn't feel as significant as a theme.
Right.
If they'd set up a theme, like thematically like if he had to make a decision like that at the beginning of the film, and he had done the opposite of what he did at the end of the film, then it would have resonated a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Because you would have been on board and you would have been like, well, you can tell like this is a part of the film. It's trying to say that this is what it's about.
Yeah.
But because it was just like, well, he's kind of like this a bit, and now he's deciding to kind of more just be like that. It's like, it's not deep, And so that was good. Not good.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah, not good. And I mean, there was a couple little minor moments of peril, which were not at all like freaky. You know what I mean? No. Because I wasn't concerned that they're. It
was an intense movie. I also got bored. I was like kind of like, it was a late showing for me, and like there was a moment in the middle where it slowed down, and I was like, I was like, nothing's happening right now.
And I will say this as well. I don't know if it was the film that they used, or the lack of film, or the way that they shot it, or production design, but there was just a feel to me of it being staged. I don't know if you got that.
There were scenes that felt like they were shot in a higher frame rate.
Right.
And it was presented, because I was like, this looks like the motion sense that you see on the TV when they have
smooth
that.
And too sharp.
It didn't feel like 24 frames per second. I was like, wait, what?
I'm not always a big fan of like embracing just like in the colorization of a film, the tone of the era or something.
Right.
But I think this film would have been aided heavily by making it look more stylistically like that era.
Sure.
Adding more of a film grain, adding more of kind of a sepia maybe evenness to the film. That would have aided me a lot because there was no reason to go what is basically like very, very modern color palette and colorization with the film. It was very, at times, very bright.
Yeah.
I mean, almost oversaturated in a couple shots. And I think cinematography-wise, we talked about this, there was a couple shots that stylistically, like there was a shot that was like an overhead shot of, a couple of them talking about the crime scene, and that was kind of stylistically there. And there was a couple kind of like walking takes of like, hand, like steady cam type things, like the shot you're talking about where he's going through and it's kind of looking from person to person.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 or 4 of those that I can call out in my mind, but nothing that really resonates with this idea that they were going with this consistent stylization.
Yeah.
And I think if they'd done a good version of that, I would have liked that.
Been more on board.
Yeah, I've been more on board. So I did want to talk about that. I want to talk about the production design because I think for whatever reason, although everything felt like that was probably authentic, it also felt a little bit over the top.
No, I got
at the same time.
Yeah. I feel you.
I think the things that I was like enjoying the most was the food in the film. I don't know. That's why whenever I see movies, it's weird. I don't know if you get this way, but you like
that sounds really good right now.
Yeah, like you see somebody eating something,
like the cake.
You're just like, the cake, man.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my goodness, yeah. And geez, Johnny Depp. I mean, we could briefly just discuss Johnny Depp, but he's not looking like he used to. You know what I mean? He's kind of getting pudgy and. Sorry, I shouldn't be rude. And poor Johnny Depp's listening to this right now going like, this guy, what's he talking about?
We just lost sponsorship from Johnny Depp. Thanks a lot for that, Joel.
But no, I mean, I really like Johnny Depp as an actor. I know he's done a couple films that have flopped pretty hard.
When he's like the outrageous characters.
Yeah, he kind of went down that, after Pirates, he kind of really embraced that whole really odd style.
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Alice in Wonderland style. And that just went so far. And I was like, I was wanting him to kind of pull it back in a little bit. And it's hard for me to take him almost seriously at this point. And I know that there was some news articles about him being at the premiere and really struggling at the premiere.
I heard about that too.
But I don't know. I was hoping for this to be a little better.
Yeah.
I think if they had focused more on the action elements too.
Yeah, that's true. Strange. It felt slow to me, I think.
If they'd had a few more battles or fights or something like that. I don't know.
Hey, you want to hear my score?
Sure.
My score for this movie, 67.
Okay.
Yeah. I was kind of just like, meh.
I'm a little higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm at a 73.
I think it's because it didn't pull me along emotionally, and I'm that emotional guy. And I was like, I can't be on board with you on this one.
Yeah, I think the acting worked a lot for me, and I think the cinematography was okay.
Okay.
so that saved a lot.
The acting, it was good. I
was
enjoyed
expecting like an F.
Oh, okay. You weren't expecting low. Yeah. I went expecting moderate to a little above moderate, and I got a little less than that. So that's where I draw the line.
You draw the line there, bro.
Yep.
Cool. Well, good things then. We're gonna move on.
Yep.
We're talking about our second film, which I'm the only one that saw this, so we're not gonna spend a significant chunk of time talking about it.
Sure.
Do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to?
No thoughts. I knew the trailers had me chuckling. But what's the movie we're talking about?
So the film we're talking about is Daddy's Home 2. The synopsis for this is Dusty, played by Mark Wahlberg, and Brad, played by Will Ferrell, have joined forces to provide their kids with a perfect Christmas. Their newfound partnership is put to the test when Dusty's old-school macho dad, played by Mel Gibson, and Brad's ultra-affectionate emotional dad, played by John Lithgow, arrive just in time to throw the holiday into complete chaos. Directed by Sean Anders, who's the director of the first film.
Okay.
It stars a pretty okay sized cast. Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell, Mel Gibson, John Lithgow. It's got Linda Cardellini as
Hawkeye's wife.
Yes, Hawkeye's wife, but in this one, Will Ferrell's wife.
Yep.
Alessandra Ambrosia, who is Mark Wahlberg's wife, as makes sense. John Cena, who is busting out all over the acting field now. He's got that Bull movie coming out.
Oh, I saw The Wall, by the way.
You did? Did you like it?
Side note, I actually did really like it until the last 30 seconds.
You know, right?
Yeah.
And you see that last bit and you're like, what? Come on. Yeah.
Anyways.
Couple kids in this. You got Scarlett Estevez, Owen Vaccaro, and Didi Costine.
Scarlett related to Emilio.
I don't know.
This is important information we need to know.
Actually could be. I mean, nepotism in Hollywood is a pretty known thing, so she definitely might be.
I'd like to know what happened to Emilio. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead and keep going.
Anyway, yeah. So I went with this to pretty low expectations. I actually didn't see the first one. I don't know if you saw the first one.
So you just went in with no prior knowledge of what's really going on here in the dynamic?
I felt like I knew what I needed to know.
Okay.
You know, the idea was Daddy's Home 1 was about two dads that are fighting over this, marriage relationship and kids. And that was probably what the first one was about. I mean, it seems like about as deep as that. And the second one seems like about as, based upon the depth of this second one, that's probably about as deep as the first one got. I mean, the second one is really just about
them jiving with their dads.
Kind of jiving with each other.
Okay.
That is, I'd say that's like the B plot. The A plot is more, them jiving with their own dads.
Yeah, because it seemed like, I haven't seen the first one, and the trailers painted out as like, hey, they got over their differences in the first movie. Right. And
they both have very different styles. Obviously, Mark Wahlberg's like the rough, and then Will Ferrell's like, kind of the kid version. And so they had to learn to jive in the first one.
Yeah, and then this one is them trying to work together in conjunction with their dads both being...
Yeah, they use the metaphor of a harbor.
Okay.
And they're like, I got the harbor closed. There ain't nothing coming out. And the harbor's like where they harbor their emotions and negativity.
Gotcha.
And then eventually like, the harbor's open now. I'm like docking boats all over my harbor. So like, it's silly. But I didn't expect much. Yeah. You know what I mean? What I was kind of hoping for with this one was, in a sense, a Christmas Vacation type film.
Okay, I got
Because I actually really like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I don't know
about it's an annual staple.
It's an annual staple. It's a Christmas, which we're not even necessarily in the Christmas season yet, but these days we do Christmas so early.
Right, this started back in September.
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but I was hoping, well, maybe because it's Christmas season for the film, that it would be something like that. And a minor semblance of that. Okay. What I would say was decently well acted. Okay. I think all the characters really embraced the idea of what their character was about and hit it heavy and hard. Mel Gibson played the perfect jerk of a father, like, machismo jerk of father. John Lithgow played the perfect, like, over emotional, my son, like, amazingly so. I mean, there's a couple parts that I think they made me laugh more than anything. Yeah. I think the back and forth between Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell was not that funny to me.
Okay.
I don't know, personally, I think the Will Ferrell thing's kind of getting a bit old.
Yeah, because he's kind of similar.
Well, it's like the man boy, where he's like a grown man, but he acts like a child. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of played its course in our culture.
I totally get you.
Hopefully. I mean, it just kind of got a little boring. And then John Lithgow, though, was hilarious because he's not really a man boy. He's like a father and a husband, but he plays like this over emotional, like almost Canadian, like, oh, it's okay, you know, like there's a part, and I will spoil this because this was one of the funnier parts where he goes,
spoiler alert for this kid,
like he goes missing, and they're like, where is he at? And they go find him, and he's in the forest, and he's laying face down. He passed out, and he's like, wolves are like all around him, and he's just like, oh, it's okay, guys, don't worry about it, it's not a problem. The wolves are like chewing on his arm and stuff. You know what I mean? He's just like so happy. Yeah, he's and that was like a funny part. And there would be moments. I would say there was a couple funny set pieces because the movie was really kind of like Christmas Vacation. It was a set of this thing and this thing and this thing, and they have the part with the Christmas lights, and they have the part with the the sledding, and they have the part with the tree chopping, and it's like they literally were mixing the beats, but following almost like the same beat for beat structure as Christmas Vacation. Ridiculously enough, this sounds stupid, but where the movie really, really fell off the rails more for me was in the end.
Okay.
It survived the drama, the tension of the film survived on the basis that people are just not able to work out their differences.
Oh, really?
And discuss what their problems were. So instead of like just going to a person saying like, I have a problem with X, they just go blah, blah, blah. I mean, and you kind of expect that.
Yeah.
They've got to manipulate the circumstances
I gotcha.
A little bit, but so yeah, I mean, it was all right. There was, what I would say about the film is that if you want a film where you can kind of zone out, you can get a couple chuckles in here and there. I think the scenes with John Lithgow were my favorite. There was another funny part with like a snowball fight with him, which is just ridiculous. I'll tell you once we're not recording. So Will Ferrell was a bit draggy again because I think that whole man boy child thing is kind of played out. And but yeah, the only other thing, and this kind of took it from like maybe like a C+ rank to lower, was Scarlett Estevez's character, the little girl.
Okay.
And we've talked about this. I really don't like it when kids are young and they embrace this idea of them being like adult-like.
They give them like a dialogue that's not something kids would talk.
Right, and their mindsets. It's like it just shows poor writing most of the time on the age of like on the aspect of an adult writing for a kid.
Yeah,
and she was that. She was this embracing of this little kid that's trying to act like an adult and doing things that are pretty horrible for a kid to do.
Sure,
and getting away with those, and the stories embracing it. And a couple times it was like kind of funny. But for the most part, it really did not enjoy that element, and that took it down a notch.
Gotcha.
Took it down a notch, Scotty.
It took it down. Yeah. What did it take it down to?
So I'm giving this one a 71.
Okay.
So just it's actually close to where
okay, I gotcha.
Murder was for me. So neither was like awful.
Yeah.
But they're just going to be films that kind of like, okay, moving on. That's what Hollywood's doing right now. They're making these kinds of films.
Yeah.
So
I gotcha.
All right. Any thoughts?
No, I it's kind of what I imagined it to be.
Yeah.
I will say though, it did look funnier than I thought the first one looked. The trailers painted it to be funnier. All the stuff.
Yeah.
When they're meeting their dads at the airport, that whole scene I thought was kind of funny.
What they spoiled that in the trailer for me.
Yeah.
Because that probably would have been a lot funnier if they didn't spoil in the trailer.
That's true.
You do get to hear John Cena sing. Spoilers.
Hey,
so
John
if you
Cena
ever wanted to know if he's a good singer, spoiler, he's not.
Okay.
Then check out the movie. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, that's all I got.
All right, so we'll go ahead and sign things off today. Again, some reminders at the end, some ways to get connected to the podcast. You've got our website, which is realreviewmedia.com. You've got our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia.
Yep.
We've also got our Instagram and our Twitter, which are both at realreviewmedia. And then we'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives on these films, anything else we haven't talked about, maybe some news or things that are going on for you in the world of film and cinema. Shoot that to us at realreviewmedia@gmail.com.
Do it.
Awesome. Anything else, Matt, for us?
No, that's it.
All right, well, then it's been real.
It's been real.